How's it going, YouTubers? We have some more questions and answers for you today, so I'm just going to jump right in. What tips would you give to independent retailers, and for those who are starting out, would you ever consider setting up another games retailer in future? Now, the answer to the question is absolutely not. Many reasons, but I'll start with the reason why I wouldn't straight away. The most obvious reason is because video game e-commerce is dead. It died realistically probably when just after the PS4 came out. Now, we were lucky we got an extra few years of retail, because if Microsoft had their way, they would have killed retailers off ages ago. We all know what happened with the Xbox One. And all those retailers, we were so happy when Microsoft lost that war, because had they have won, our end would have come way quicker than it did. Don't get me wrong, you could still set up a games retailer now and be successful, and make a living. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I wanted to be the biggest in the country, and I wouldn't want to be the biggest of an industry that's small. It's just me, I guess. Yeah, for me, I'd never do it. I'd never do it again. I mean, it was a great experience. Ideally, I would have loved to have got it in earlier. I would have loved to have seen the 80s and Commodore and the Amiga and even the Super Nintendo, that era. I would have liked to have been in retail then. But I got into it just after the PS2 came out. So I was still selling the PS2, PS1. PS1 was still doing alright at the time. This is around early noughties. Yeah, so I've seen a lot, but it's the digital downloads that has destroyed it. I mean, we had a new release coming out, for example, and we could sell up to 2,000 of just one unit, and you know how many games come out every week, or used to, every Friday or whenever it was. And we were selling thousands and thousands of games, but the writing was on the wall. God, about 10 years ago. That's when I started diversifying into toys, like a long time ago. Even when the industry, when it was super strong, with the Nintendo Wii. And that era, I was already looking ahead, because I knew it was coming. And obviously when it did come, we were not selling much games anymore. Even though we were called GameSeek, we were selling, I'd say probably about 80% of the things we sold was everything else other than games, but we still had such an amazing games following that we were doing alright with games anyway. So yeah, that was the answer to the question, is I would never do it. But if you want to do it, I'm more than happy to help you, and give you as much advice as you need, or as you want. Alright, this question is something I actually think about quite a lot. There's so many things I would have done differently, to be honest. That's the answer. I remember the Hut Group when they were a tiny little company, the Hut.com, and we were selling more games than them. I remember someone came into our office saying, "Oh, the Hut's only sold 94 products today," and I was thinking, my God, we're outselling the Hut. And well, we all know where the Hut's gone now. They've done amazing, haven't they? I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but the guy that run it entered at some entrepreneur competition and won it, then got a £5 million investment, or some large investment, and they just went amazing. So I've just answered the question, and I would have loved, looking back, to get investment. Now, it's so difficult to challenge what happened to me, because I was a young kid earning 150 to 200 grand a year when all my friends were leaving uni and getting jobs on 18, 20 grand a year. You don't want to stop, you know what I mean? You don't want to question what you're doing. Obviously you must be doing something alright. You don't want to risk it. I wouldn't even say risk it, but who can you trust when you're a little kid? When I powered the business forward, like really powered it forward, 2013 onwards, when I got the big warehouse and brought the machines over from Jersey for Play.com, I was getting quite a lot of interest. I had a lot of strangers popping into the office saying, "Oh, I know who's going to buy you out. I know blah blah wants you." I was getting the company valued at like just under £10 million it was. A lot of interest in different people. I would have loved to go back in time. You only have one timeline, that's the problem with this, but I'd love to go back and work with someone to power the business forward. I had so many good ideas for it. I knew where I wanted to take it. I knew what would have happened to GameSeek. GameSeek would have regressed and ended up being video games only. All those products are on the website, the toys and all the other stuff would have been stripped away and sent to other websites, and we would have had a big website. I was trying to buy instock.com for about 3 years. I always wanted instock.com. That's all I wanted, and I was negotiating with this guy and he wanted $50,000 for it, just for the URL, and I didn't think it was worth it, but it could have been. It was a time when the internet was changing so quick and no one was willing to wait for products anymore, and I knew instock.com would have been a cracking name. GameSeek would have been involved into multiple websites, and we were going to join them all together with Miracle marketplace platform, which ended up buying. Just didn't run out of time, unfortunately, didn't get to do what I wanted. So if I could go back and change one thing, it probably would be to get investment. At the absolute minimum, I would have sold it, because I worked my nads off for like 18 years and I got nothing. And that's one of my regrets, and I don't like having regrets, but I felt like I deserved something. You know, I had 3 million customers. Them alone are worth obviously a lot, but the brand, the inventory, the machines, yeah, yeah, investment. All right, so this one is similar to the previous question. Again, would you go back into e-commerce? I understand this is a little bit different because it's talking about own label gaming products. Now you can definitely make a living just doing products in China and getting them flown straight to FBA in the United States and other areas of the world. In fact, I remember going, well, long ago actually, Payoneer, is it Payoneer? Yeah, the FX company. They invited me for a meal in London, and when I was down there, I was speaking to a guy. It was just a two-man company, and all they were doing, having products made in China and getting sent at different FBA depots around the world. You can make 6 figures easily a year doing that. But for me, it's not exciting because you're not building anything, you're just making money. I know some people just want to make money, and that's fine if you want to do that, but I want to build something incredible, you know, something to get up for each day. It's not about money. So I personally wouldn't do it. Again though, if anyone wants any help starting, you know, by all means get in touch with me. I can certainly give you some advice, but yeah, it's not really for me. I know, I just wanted to add to that, the reason why I did it, got my own products made in China, is because A, I thought it was quite a good little journey, you know, a good experience for me. B, I knew I'd have bestsellers because I could leverage my products made in China. I couldn't care less if they made no money, basically. I didn't need to make any money on them. So I knew once I got the product into the UK and I placed it next to the other ones, it didn't matter how poor my product was. I mean, obviously if it was absolutely terrible, yeah, okay. But I knew I could sell it based on marketing, based on the pure weight I can put behind pushing products. That's something I really like, because I know if I'm in a level playing field against another company, I back myself. I would back myself to win, because I'd just be relentless with the marketing until I win, and that's why I wanted to do it. It's just a bit of fun, I guess. It wasn't really to make much money, but you definitely can make money on it. So yeah, I've been here myself, and the answer is you need to get rid of the member of staff. It's simple as that. You need to fire him or her. There's no point as a business owner feeling that you can't leave your office. You know, you might have to catch a plane and go somewhere down the country or wherever to meet someone. Or maybe you want to go on holiday with your wife or family, and you can't because you don't want to leave the staff behind because you don't trust them. You've got to get rid of every single staff member that you don't trust. It's simple as that. If I leave the office and my staff aren't working just as hard or even harder when I'm not there, I'm having a problem with that. I'm having a problem, and I know there'll be other people out there going, oh, you know what, maybe I'm being unrealistic. Fair enough. But my point is, a business, it doesn't exist. It's not a person, and it needs all the it can get. And if I was the leader and I wasn't there, then I need my other troops to work even harder to make sure it's being, it's going to be stronger. So yeah, I know it's quite difficult sometimes. Certainly difficult being a boss, but if you've got anyone in your business that you don't get rid of, I can tell you even what happens. They end up being a virus and they go around infecting your other staff, and your good staff that used to be great staff, all of a sudden their performance levels dip. You need to weed out the viruses and have a great team of people who want to be there, and you'll have people moaning about working at your business, and they're the ones you need to get rid of. Do them a favour and just get rid of them. Why should a business suffer because somebody doesn't want to be there? It's not fair on the business, it's just not fair. So, and do you know what, it's not fair on you either, because I know what it's like to be constantly worried about your business, and it's just something I will absolutely not accept in the future. I just won't accept it. It sounds like that I'm some sort of evil person for saying that, but I'm not. I don't mean it in that way. It's just the business has to be taken care of. It's got to be number one. It's got to be. I know staff are so important to a business, but guess what? If the business doesn't exist, your staff don't exist. The business has to exist first. So if the business isn't being taken care of, everyone's going to lose their job, including all your good staff, and that's not fair on the good ones. I've been out of this now for, a few years, so I wouldn't even know where the best place to get consoles of anymore, to be honest. I know that when I was doing it, it was everywhere, to be honest. It could have been a UK distributor, and if it was a Sony product, it would be Centresoft. If it was, if it was Microsoft, it definitely wouldn't have been Exertis. Nothing against Exertis, but they were impossible to deal with when it came to consoles. We used to sell PS4 consoles or PS3 consoles or even PS2 consoles 10-1 easily over Microsoft, and it was purely because of Microsoft. I don't even think it's Exertis. I think it's Microsoft's attitude to UK retail was an absolute shocker, to be honest. They just wanted to deal with the supermarkets and companies like that. Nintendo obviously were good as well. Nintendo obviously KOCH Media. I wouldn't really bother with consoles full stop, to be honest. We hardly sold consoles. I think in the entirety of the company we probably did about 5 million max, I think, and that's probably, it's not being conservative, that's probably over egging it. I didn't really like selling consoles. I didn't like having my money tied up in hardware that every so often I'd get a phone call and go, oh, there's an offer on this or an offer on that. I'm like, I've just bought 100 grand's worth of consoles. What do you mean there's an offer on it? Do you know what I mean? These are the sort of things that used to happen. It was even worse with video games. If they were a flop after 2 weeks, they dropped like 10 or 20 pound. Oh God, don't get me started on that. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I know you're asking something else, aren't you? The highs and lows of running a small business. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. In fact, I've got some good stories actually. So, I'll do that. Why not? So, Glenn's asked, it's nice to see a face behind the business. You ever planning a comeback? First of all, I know you've asked something else there, but I'm just going to go with, am I ever having a comeback? And I know I sort of touched upon this before, but I'm not coming back to e-commerce. I'm not saying I'll never do e-commerce again, you know what I mean? I might have 50 years left yet, so I might do e-commerce again, but in fact, I did come back straight after GameSeek ended. I set up a new online retailer. I hired some good staff from my previous business. It did really well. The thing is, what I was trying to do, actually, we did, about 10,000 sales in the first just over 6 months, or getting on for 10,000. But for a new business, that is decent. The issue was to make it really work, and I would have done way more sales than that. the biggest problem and the reason why I stopped, well, actually the reason why I stopped is because I fell out of love with e-commerce because of what I'm about to tell you. Despite doing that many sales, we weren't selling on Amazon and eBay. Now, anyone that's in small business knows how important Amazon and eBay are, especially to UK. And because of the fallout of GameSeek, they wouldn't let me set up an account. And it was so difficult for me to understand why they wouldn't want to work with me when I've made them an absolute fortune. I mean, obviously compared to what they earn, it's probably not much, and that probably is why, but we were always up there, you know, as a big seller on these platforms. But they wouldn't give me an account, so it was very difficult. I asked and asked and I asked. I had so many phone calls with them, and whilst this was going on, I had staff. I had 3 very talented developers. I had a few other members of staff, you know, for dispatch and social media, and the business was going. We didn't have any luck with it though. We had all the knowledge, but we didn't have the Amazon or eBay accounts. And the first thing I would have done straight away is set up 9 eBay accounts. I say 9 eBay accounts. So there's 9 countries I like dealing with eBay, so I have separate accounts for each country. But this was just normal. This is what we did at GameSeek. And Amazon, really, I know things have evolved a bit now, but UK, US, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Australia, probably the Far East if you want it, but you can see where I'm going with this, how much business we were losing, and we were still doing all right. Anyway, I chucked it in about 8 months after the restart. We had a warehouse, a couple of offices. It was like a dead cert, you know, like in my head that it was going to go massive, and it could have easily, but without having Amazon and eBay, in the end it just battered me down so much I just fell out of love with it and I chucked it in. It's sad really, because if they let me have an account, I would have done it. Now I know some people are going to be watching this going, why didn't you set up a stealth account, or why didn't you set up in someone else's name? I didn't want to do that. No chance. I was used to going down to London, meeting Amazon, meeting eBay, you know, having face-to-face meetings. I knew the guy that run the UK Seller Central. You know, if I ever had any problems, I'd just contact him. I remember once, Amazon, it was Christmas one year, and Amazon owed us about $500,000 because he used to pay every 2 weeks. I know things have changed now, you can just withdraw money when you want, but the order's like just under £500,000, and they suspended our account the night before we were about to be paid. I had a phone call in the early hours of the morning saying, Steve, we've just been suspending our Amazon. I said, you're joking. I remember jumping out of bed, going downstairs, seeing it, contacting my my guy, and I'll put in the video who he was, because I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know he got promoted and went over to Seattle in the end and started running the American Seller Central. But anyway, woke up in the morning and he'd already put me back on, and Amazon had paid me as well, like nearly £500,000. Alright guys, so I've just turned my camera back on, and I've wanted to add to one of the questions about restarting and how I only wanted to work with Amazon and eBay if it was me personally and not a stealth account. Now, anyone who's worked with Amazon and eBay can know how temperamental they are when they suspend you. Not eBay as much, but Amazon. And I couldn't run the risk. We actually tried these similar things in the past. We had a little bit of experience with setting up stealth accounts before, but I know if you did it properly, you could do it. And get away with it. But one member of staff logs in on a computer that you're not supposed to log into, and the whole thing collapses, and you're suspended. And I'm just thinking ahead. I was thinking, my God, if you had a big company and 50% of your sales was Amazon, and if someone goes and logs in on the wrong computer, next minute your stealth account's compromised. I wasn't doing that. No chance. I wanted the relationship. I wanted to build something with them. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to hide. I can understand it in Amazon and eBay's eyes. They must have thought, oh, this guy's a problem because he had a business that went into liquidation. But my response would be, I had a business for like nearly 18 years and made you guys a small fortune, and I'm going to do it again. And the little bit of money you might have lost at the end, I'll make that in the first month for you. Do you get me? It's like, what's the problem? And also, it wasn't about ducking and diving. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I want to achieve something, and I want to go into work every day and look forward to it. I don't want to go into work thinking, are we going to get found out today? And I know some of you are going to be thinking, how on earth did you do nearly 10,000 sales without Amazon and eBay as a new startup when you're getting no traffic to your website? Well, again, it was experience. Just because we didn't have Amazon and eBay, we had other sales networks around the world. That's the way of making money, innit, on e-commerce, moving products from one country to another. So we were on other marketplaces, we just weren't on Amazon and eBay, the main ones. Also, we still could, believe it or not, shift quite a few products through our website, because straight away we knew what we were doing from the off. We'd go to one of the big networks in the UK, get an affiliate program straight away, start pushing that out, and be relentless with the promotions where you can. Carry some of the traits over from the previous business, what we used to do, to gain, lots of attention. So the business, like I said, the business would have been massive if given an eBay and Amazon account. I'm convinced of it, but at the same time, I'm not upset, really. I'm not that bothered. I'm not bothered at all. I've been there and done it. That was another thing that got me in the end. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm going to go through all this again. I'm going to end up building this big, massive warehouse, get all these big machines, and then I'll be in the same place in 10 years' time that I was, you know what I mean, years ago. Nah, you're alright. I wanted to, I know the easy thing would be to just do what you know, but I'm not doing that. Not when you're only alive for so many years. I just feel like it'd be good to learn something new. I just wasn't going to do. In the end, I just thought, you know what, it might be a blessing in disguise. I'm not going to doing this anymore. And one other thing is it really your business? I know it is, but is it really your business if Amazon can suspend you at any second and you have to lay off half your staff? It's not a good way to grow a business. What's key to making money online for me, and it always was this, that I learned quite quickly, was you could have a product in one country that's a total bomb. This is so obvious, but I tell you can make an absolute fortune just doing this. In one country, in another country, it's a massive success. Now, the UK and USA used to mirror themselves quite well, as in, a product would hit US first, it'd do well, 6 months later it's in the UK, or even quicker than that, or however long it was, and then it'd do well in the UK. But what I used to love doing in the UK, and anyone can do this right now, and even at the end of the company there wasn't that many people doing it. I know there must be more now, but this is just one little tiny thing. A product that's done really well in USA, could be a toy, could be a Disney film that bombed in the UK but did amazing over there. When the stock comes to the UK and no one buys it, it goes to liquidation, goes to clearance, you can pick it up so cheap. Obviously you need to know the places to buy it from, and I can tell you them as well if you want, just ask me for them. And then you sell them in US at a premium price. My God, you can make $20, $30 profit on every one you sell. I did it with loads of stuff. I think I've covered before. I sold thousands of Doctor Who sonic screwdrivers in America. Just off the top of my head, but so many products I did it with. I remember buying, I think it was about 20,000 Nintendo Wii lens kits from Nintendo. I believe I put the last ever order in for it before they stopped making it. And I bought them for about £2 each from Nintendo Direct in Germany. I had to do it through KOCH Media, but it was funneled through them, obviously. And I sold them all for about $20 or $25 each in America. Now you can see the markup, £2 to 20. There's just so many things you can do like this now. For me, the absolute key to making money online, and this is just one tiny thing, UK to US. There's loads of countries out there. Loads of countries. All you have to do is move a product from one area of the world that's been a failure to an area of the world that is a success, and that's it. There's loads of universal products as well. The universal language is English anyway. I know not everyone speaks English, but so many people do. That is absolute key for me, and it always was. It was never about going into the UK and competing with UK shops online. Well, why would you do that? Because then all you get into is a price war. Who can be the cheapest? And whoever's cheapest gets the money, because the internet's transparent. That is not how you make money online for me. It was always about picking up the product and getting it out of the country, not focusing on the UK. Now, if I lived in the United States, I wouldn't be focusing on the United States. I'd be focusing on everywhere else in the world. I'm going to finish this off with two things. The first thing is, as a retailer, move products from one country to another. Supply and demand. It's so basic, but it just works. The other really big one, when you've got a bit more money behind you, is to buy up liquidated clearance stuff. So rather than go to clearance houses and buy 100 units this, 200 units of that, I used to remember going into these clearance houses, and I remember walking in one in London, and they were like, "Oh, we just had Smith's Toys in here, Stephen. They just spent 300 grand. How much are you spending?" I was like, "Oh, good." And you walk around this little room looking at these products, and you pick a few off the shelf, and the absolute minimum you can buy is, you know, realistically 100 units or something up and upwards. Oh god, I just remembered something I missed out on. He had 11,000 Pokemon gloves, this guy, and I was divering. I was going, I know I'm jumping into this now, but I spoke to my wife about it at the time. I was like, I really want to buy these Pokemon gloves, but it's going to be quite expensive order, even though I was buying them for like, you know, a couple of quid each or whatever it would have been. I knew I could sell them in the United States for $14.99, no problem, $15. And guess what happened? Pokemon bloody Go, that's what happened. Was it called Pokemon Go? Whatever that massive craze was on the app. And I phoned up the clearance house. I said, yeah, I'll take them. Because he knew I was interested in all of them, all 11,000. He said, oh, I'm really sorry, Stephen, we sold them last night. I was like, absolutely devastated, because I've just lost, in my head, even though I never bought them in the first place, so technically I never lost it, but it was a dead cert, and I can't believe I stood. It wasn't like me, you know, but just I hesitate on a deal like that. Anyway, I'm going to go back to where I was before, but yeah, you walk around these clearance houses, and the one thing that strikes me, and I will end on this now, one thing that I'll never forget by going into, because I used to meet up with these clearance houses wherever they were in the world. So if you go into Germany, there'll be a big toy show at some massive exhibition halls, but the real toy show is in the hotels nearby, where they're selling the clearance stuff in the hotels, and that is where all the fun's happening. But they're not going to tell you that, are they? Same thing happens in the UK as well. If you go to the NEC and you go to Spring Fairs, but the real action is the hotel over the road, because you go over there and you get all the products for like a third of the price. So I remember going to the show, one of the last NEC Spring Fair shows I went to. I only went there straight to the clearance area because I knew the clearance guys. And I sat down in this little restaurant, and one of the guys I traded with said, blah de blah over there, he's just withdrew 5 million out, paid himself 5 million. Now if you're going to pay yourself 5 million, you know you're going to get taxed a lot straight away. You must be doing well if you're willing to let all that tax go down the pan and not reinvest it in your business. Now that's how much you can make when you are the person selling the clearance stock. And that was where you'd want to get to. You'd want to get away from retail if you can, if you want the big money, and be in areas of the world waiting for the liquidation, waiting for companies to collapse, and having the contacts to buy the stock up to pass on to the retailers or sell on to the retailers, because it's actually those people that are actually making a fortune. Yes, you can make a lot of money on retail. Yes, it's more exciting for me being a retailer because you have a brand and you can do, you know, press releases and do amazing sales and capture the public's imagination. But if you're a wholesaler, I mean, who knows the wholesalers, these clearance houses? Nobody, unless you're in the industry. Nobody knows who they are. And that for me isn't very exciting. It might be perfect for some people. If you're purely in it to make money, that is a good avenue to go down. And I know what you're going to think, well, how do you even get into that? How can you even get into that when you need loads of money in the first place? Yeah, you would need a bit of money, but you've got to start small. You get into it and your first transaction is small. You know, you don't have to jump into it with loads of money. Anyway, I am going on, but I just wanted to share that with you. I know I've gone off tangent a little bit, but behind every point I try and make, there's often a story in my head and a reminisce, and I remember some significant things. But ultimately, making money online, just shift it from one area of the country or one area of the map on the world to another area, and that's it. And we all know how easy it is to see what a product is selling well at on Amazon. You just look at the rank. It's obvious. It's easy to do. So I hope someone watching this does it. And good luck to you. Which company would you have classed as your main competitor, not including Amazon? So probably out of all the others, it would be Game. I had a bit of a soft spot for Game because I worked, whilst at uni, I worked in a game shop in Wrexham for about 3 months. But I had a good time there whilst I was there. But I just wanted to learn about how they went about their business. And yeah, I actually always thought Game were going to go bust all the time. I just thought, they've got all those units, you know, the internet is just battering them. Then Game did this weird thing where they had an online price and a high street price. I think they soon dropped that because that caused confusion. I never really saw Game as a threat, even though they had like 400 shops. I don't know why. I just constantly focused on Amazon. But I just, like I said, I kept on thinking all the time, I'm gonna see a presser any second saying they've gone. Obviously, it never happened. It nearly happened. I think the Nintendo Wii saved them, and then the moment the Wii saved them, all the shareholders sold up, didn't they, and left. But anyway, yeah, I'd say Game. I would. How rude of me. Okay. Yeah, just want to say thank you for the questions. I nearly forgot. Thank you very much. Yeah, any more questions, send them over. I will get there. I will get around to doing them. Okay. All right. And obviously, if I can help anyone in any way, like I said, I know I've mentioned this before, I don't really like the thought of my knowledge going to waste, because that's where it's going to go. So I'm more than happy to help anyone, any question, especially if I can help just one person. If I could just help one person, then it's all been worth, you know, dropping these videos online. So yeah. Okay guys, all the best.